Okay, so this is just going to be a really short, quick video on how to set up your extractor if you're completely new to this. So, this has two vacuum motors and a pump and a heating element. So it uses a lot of power, and that means, so on the back, there are, oops, hang on. I've got this plugged in right now. So there's two cords coming off the back, right? And one of those is for one vacuum and the other one, and the heating element, the other one is for one vacuum and the pump. So it's no good to, you can't just say, oh, I only need one of the motors. It doesn't have enough water lift. If you try and run this with just one vacuum motor, then you're just gonna make a huge mess and soak the carpet because it won't pick up what you're putting down. So, what you'll want to do is, as often as possible, you should use like neon yellow, neon orange, neon green, something bright for the cord, because you're going to have to run it through halls, and it is a trip hazard, especially with seniors when you're talking about walkers and canes. And you know, you'll want to get both of the cords on two separate circuits, because like if in this room, if I just plug this in, you know, one into the bathroom and one in here, I'm gonna blow the breaker. And I know because I've done it. So you have to have enough extension cords to run it far enough away that you're on a separate circuit. So what I'll do, like I checked to see, in this hallway we'll have two rooms on one breaker. So I can't go to that room on that side and plug in. I had to go that way, because if I plug in this room and that one over there, I'm going to pop the breaker. So you have to kind of look into that stuff. But the double-edged sword is that it's against regulations with the state a lot of the time to run an extension cord. You can't go from one side of the hall to the other, and sometimes that's just not practical. You know, sometimes you have to, or the carpet's not getting clean. So if you're having an inspection, that's probably not the best time to extract carpets. Just, because those people are so wound up with theory, they don't get the practical side at all. Okay, so I do have the heat turned on. There's vacuum, the one on the bottom is for the pump. Oh, I don't have power there. That's interesting. So I'm going to check that's the other thing. So I usually try to plug into a bathroom into a GFCI outlet. So if you're not sure which of the plugs is for what, it's that one. So one of my plugs was a little bit loose. The one on the bottom is for the pump, and then the one in the middle is for the heat. Now, if I had a really good electrical connection, this would be lit up bright. Sometimes I get that, and sometimes I don't. I don't worry about it. I know the water's going to be hot, and maybe it's going to be too much of a power draw and pop the breaker, but hopefully not. So, hopefully in your building the breakers are well labeled. We do have some here that are not well labeled or labeled wrong. So when you get your extractor, it'll come with this. This is a priming hose, because you'll need to prime the pump before you put pressure on it. So what you want to do every single time, and I have burned myself when I was teaching a class on this at the Creekside community, and I forgot, because I was answering questions and talking away, and I didn't do this. So what I did there was I had the hose in my hand, and I plugged it in, and because the heat had been running, it built up pressure, and I got a jet of steam out of my hand and my wrist. So what you want to do is take this hose and first put the loose end in the clean water tank. So if it jets anything out, it's just going to go right back into the clean water supply. And so what I'll do is I'll put it in there, and then I'll pop the lid down so it can't pop out. Okay, and then you just turn the pump on. And you just have to run run it until water flows for a second and you're good to go. The other thing that's kind of handy about that is, so that's already warm, so I can tell that the water's hot and ready to go. And then I just, in the other video I was talking about using the aprons for the root barrel, so that way I can always have my primer hose with me everywhere I go with this setup. Okay, so this is your clean water tank. This is your dirty water tank on top. There's a latch to turn, and you have to make sure that that's tight. They have a little white marker and a corresponding white marker here. Those actually don't matter at all as long as it's latched down, but you just have to make sure that is latched down, because if it doesn't, you won't have any vacuum suction. So, and then when you're ready to empty the machine out, of course I'm not going to do that right now, but this, my own camera here, let's see. Maybe I'll bring this up a little bit closer. Okay. So you have the drain valve here. This rotates, so you would back this up to a deep sink and point it downwards, and then all you have to do is pull up on this T-handle and stuff will come gushing out. While you have it set up that way, what I'll do is I'll run a hose in the dirty water tank, just because you'll get all kinds of crud that clings to the insides of the tank, and there's little places where stuff can kind of get caught and hide. I'll hose it out pretty thoroughly. That's taking good care of the equipment. It's keeping it from starting to smell bad. The other thing is that after I'm done, I've got it all emptied out, I'll leave this tank open so it can air out, and I'll usually spray some enzyme in there too, because sometimes these do get pretty foul. Okay, so, last thing, when you turn the pump on, there's a knob here that regulates your pressure, and you'll see that creep up on this dial here. On this machine, it goes up to about 400. So, and then of course your feed line and your vacuum hose go here. So that's it. I'm gonna go ahead and get down to some extracting.